Let's get into the news, and as usual, there ain't no party like a Diddy party. And unfortunately, there's going to be, well, fortunately, actually, not unfortunately, but fortunately, there's going to be no more parties at his house because he's selling it. Yes, the LA mansion that got raided, he's putting it up for sale. Let's go over the article. Diddy's residency in California is nearing its end as he has listed his sprawling mansion in the state for sale just months after it was raided as part of a sex trafficking investigation. The 54-year-old bought a home in the Holmby Hills neighborhood of Los Angeles back in 2014 for $40 million. On Wednesday, July 3rd, TMZ reported that the property is once again up for sale as the businessman is seeking $70 million for it. Damn, that's a good come up, man. Buying it in $40 million in 2014 for $40 million. Now it's worth $70 million if he can get it to sell, obviously, for $70 million. Puff's ongoing troubles with the law worsened when his properties across the United States were thoroughly scanned by federal agents back in March. At the time, a Homeland Security Investigations representative told the press earlier today Homeland Security, New York executed law enforcement actions as part of ongoing investigation with assistance from SHI Los Angeles and SHI Miami and our other local law enforcement partners. We will provide further information as it becomes available. Yeah, and then they talked about releasing statements and stuff like that. So, yeah, the house is officially listed for sale. Now, the issue with this is who wants to be associated with this house because it's just got raided. And most people, that's usually what happens. Most people sell their homes if they get raided by the FBI because it doesn't feel like a home anymore. Once they raid this stuff, it feels like they destroy the whole thing. And then after that, it's like it just feels weird. It doesn't feel like an actual house. So I understand why he would want to sell it, but selling it, and I don't know, obviously the housing market right now is really, really hot, and houses are literally like priced up the ass. Like every house is right now expensive. Even the old cheap ones are like 2 times what they're used to be worth. So the housing market is good for selling a house right now. It's astronomical. But who wants to buy the house that's associated with the sex trafficking? That's the issue here. So that's the kind of, it's what's tied to that house. Do people want to actually be tied to and involved in? Because you are involved. That's the thing. Like when you get buy these type of, not saying like you did it, but you're going to have these type of like energy. I think, at least this is what I believe, around the house when this type of stuff has happened. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see if it sells. And the last time I remember a celebrity struggling to sell a house was 50 with the mansion in Connecticut. He was struggling to sell that thing. He had listed it like probably 6-7 times. One moment decided, hey, I'm going to keep the house. Next moment tries to list it. Right now, if he would have listed it, he would have made an astronomical amount of money, but he sold it a while back. Let me actually see what he sold it for. Look at this. This is, bad time 50 sold the house, man. He should have waited. Look at this. He sold the mansion for just $2.9 million, which is an 84% decrease than when he first bought it for 12 years ago. 84% loss. Had 50 just waited literally one more year, because COVID is when, you could say COVID probably in 2020 or like 2021 is when like the markets for houses increased, but you could say 2022 is probably like when it really skyrocketed. Had he sold it like 2 years later, maybe 3 years later, he would have got that money back, that $16 million that he bought. He bought it for $60 million, sold it for $2.9 million, which is a huge loss. That's a huge L. But I mean, 50 just probably wanted to get rid of it because of expenses every month. He said every year he spent $500,000, so $500,000 a year. So maybe he just didn't want to deal with the expenses on it. But let me see the Zillow listing. Let me see what it's worth right now, because there is a Zillow listing on here, which is insane. Let's see what it's worth right now. Home value. Let's see. I'm really curious to see what it's worth right now, just to see what kind of loss. Okay, so the estimate here, which is still a huge loss, $4.1 million. So at least, from $2.9 million to $4. That's the estimate. I don't know. I don't know why it's valued at that. It's just based on what they know about the house currently. But yeah, $4.1 million. Farmington, Connecticut. Which is funny. The address is actually 50 Poplar Hill Drive. That's hilarious. $4.1 million. So he sold it for $2.9 million in 2019. So had he waited just a couple more years, he probably would have walked away with at least $1.2 million more. Which for 50, I mean, doesn't really matter too much. The guy's super rich. So, but still, it's the hit that he took. So I just wanted to go over. That's pretty interesting. But yeah, Diddy's is obviously because Diddy's is more located in Los Angeles. Obviously, is a way better fucking location in terms of just celebrities and stuff than Farmington, Connecticut. Come on, like Farmington, Connecticut isn't the hub for celebrities. But yeah, interesting. Interesting that Diddy's trying to sell it. We'll see if he does manage to sell it for $70 million. He made $30 million off the house. That's a win for him. But I don't think he's going to be able to sell it for $70 million. I'll be surprised. Maybe he tries to. If he just sells it for $40 million, fuck it, man. Get your money back on what you spent. But I don't think he's getting $70 million for it. But we'll see. We'll keep our eyes posted.